My guest tonight is a fantastic singer, songwriter, poet, and climate justice activist. She has a brand new album coming out this month. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Erika Lundahl.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Mark, and Alice, of course.
Oh, thank you for joining me. This is awesome. Like we were talking pre-show, that I finally get a chance to meet you, and I'll get to hear your music. It's virtual, but hey, I'll take it.
We're here. We're here.
Awesome. So what I've been asking, a lot of the artistic folks that have been on the tour for since May 22nd. It's been a long time. How have you been coping during the pandemic? It's been such a crazy time.
A lot of chocolate. Oh man. A lot of long walks. I started running. I've never been a runner at all. Period. Couldn't get me out. And then around, April, I was like, I have so much pent up energy and anxiety. I just like put on my running shoes and started going, and I've still been doing it. So that's been kind of different. It's like I feel like this time has like given us a chance to like break down all of those things where you're like, I'm not this kind of person. And you can be like, well, maybe I am. Maybe I am a morning person. Maybe whatever it is. Maybe I do want to pick up playing the mandolin. That's not actually a real example. But
Yeah, no, that's great that you got outdoors and you started running, and physical exercise does so much for your mental health and your emotional health, and that's right, yeah, especially during a pandemic. So that's awesome that you did that, and continue to do it too.
yeah, honestly, the music has just been a self-soothing thing for me. It's been a thing that I've just, you know, come to in a whole different way. I feel like I'm making music in this new way where it's really become more of a lifeline than it ever has been before.
Yeah, I know some of the fans of Alice and myself have talked about how much we needed this when it happened, and maybe the band didn't quite know. They're just trying to figure out something virtually to keep their fans connected to them, and just something for themselves personally to get their music out there and that kind of thing. It's like, it's so much more to people. And that line that you use, the word of lifeline, is perfect, because, yeah, just speaking for myself, that's what it's been. It's been such a lifeline to better things, to normalcy, to creativity, to artistry. And it's if it wasn't there, it's like, gosh, I don't even want to think about what it would have been like had it not happened. So, no, I totally relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I also want to talk about, and for those that are watching, Erika is going to be playing a song for us live a little bit later on in this interview, so stay tuned for that as well. Your background, can you tell me? I believe you're born in Oregon, is that correct? And then,
No, I was actually born in Louisville, Kentucky.
oh, okay,
I know. I was raised in Oregon, though. Almost all of my childhood memories are from the Willamette Valley.
okay,
The little cup of life down there in central western Oregon.
okay. And then, when did music enter your life?
Oh, from the very beginning, both my folks are musicians. My dad's a songwriter. I grew up in the Lutheran church, so I was always around that kind of church music,
Mhm.
hymns, and then started playing piano when I was about 7. And but then really I started making my own music and Im- imagining what music could be for me in a deeper way when I was about 14. And I picked up the guitar and um, took Brett Godfrey's intro to guitar class in my freshman year of high school. And learned like Smoke on the Water, and but then I found myself just kind of writing my own lyrics over other songs that I was hearing and listening to, and so that became my entrance to doing more writing and kind of exploring poetry. I've always loved these going deep into the poetry of other people's lyrics and finding out what the syntax is, how they constructed it, and I just that just feeds my heart. And so I would end up writing, a lot of songs that mimicked other artists that I loved. I think a lot of people do that, where you uh, um, it's what's that mimicry is the what's that saying? Mimicry is the best compliment, or
Yeah, form of flattery or
form of
something.
flattery. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like all my early songs just sound like really bad Ani DeFranco knockoffs. And,
You're right there. I think all musicians kind of start, somewhere like that. I'm a musician myself, so some of those early recordings from junior high that I still have, they're complete. I changed something a little bit from some metal song I was listening to, or whether it was on the radio or something.
uh-huh.
So, and then you start kind of finding your own voice and creating your own things, further down the road.
Yep, exactly. I was in a couple bands in high school. It'd be like me and all of my dude friends that played various instruments, and yeah, just a lot of experimentation and um, being really bad for a really long time. But in that way where you're exploring, because I think that all forms of creation is it's a process, and to be engaged with the process is the most meaningful thing, and to let it serve you, and to grow through it, as opposed to being like, oh, that one piece of art I made when I was 17 or whatever, oh, that can go to hell. It's like, no, no, no. All of those are sort of these sacred, kind of historical documents of who you were and how you've changed. And I think that's really special.
Yeah, no, that was very well said. I think, and I'm kind of guilty of this too, that sometimes it's so easy to be dismissive of your early creations, and when you realize, no, there's a lot of value there. And I still have a box that has, I don't know if I should be admitting this now on a live stream, but I have a box of my old lyrics that I wrote in high school for songs, and sometimes I'll look at them and go, I just start laughing because they're just so cheesy or whatever. But then I'm like, but that was the process. That's what got me to the next step. That's what got me to this and got me to that. So, there's tremendous value in what those were for at the time. What I was doing. I was trying to express myself,
Yeah.
and it's incredibly important. It's that foundation
Hmm.
that you're building. Oh man.
Absolutely.
So when you started performing your own music, did you start doing like the open mic circuit, or what kind of route did you take? It's always different for everybody.
Yeah, I started really performing out and about. I was in upstate New York. I went to school there, in Ithaca, New York, and there was a few open mics in Ithaca, and then I started playing with my drummer for many years, Doug Indrick, and the two of us would go to various farmers markets all around upstate. That was a great time. We played a few shows out there, and then moved to Seattle in 2013, I think. Yeah, I think it was 2013, and then started just playing any old show we could get our hands on. But I quickly found my way into the environmental justice community here in Seattle, by way of kind of by way of journalism, actually, because I came out and was interning at a magazine and trying to write, and I still am trying to write. I think we're always trying to write. I think that just means you're a writer. But um, I for years, like, most of my music community was like playing benefit shows and playing in front of the Gates Foundation, asking them to divest from fossil fuels, in front
Mhm.
of the Chase Bank branches, and getting involved with the environmental activist artist scene around Seattle, which is quite vibrant and beautiful. And exploring this question of, like, how is art where is art, where can it be used as a catalytic force for change right now? All of our movements for social justice throughout all of time have had music. Like, what does that mean for climate justice and environmental justice right now? But so I think there was kind of a schism in my own relationship to the music scene and the activist scene for a long time as I was trying to figure out how to bring those together. And you have some songs that are more personal or about relationships, and other songs that are more, you know, beating the drum for Mother Earth and or economic justice or whatever it was. And 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 so that's kind of been my journey, is figuring out how to walk those two scenes and bring them together in a way that's authentic for me. And it's, I think, still a path that I'm trying to figure out.
Well, that's fascinating, and that's kind of why I asked the question, because yeah, every artist's journey is unique to them, and I have not heard one like what you just described, particularly with the environmental justice side of things here, and that's I imagine, like you just said, between that side and your music side, that's going to be something you're going to be exploring probably the bulk of your career. I don't know if it'll ever get to like, okay, I figured it out.
Yeah, it's a constant evolution. You know, I'm a part of a movement singing group in town called the People's Echo, and we channel songs for our climate and environmental justice movements, and we'll then sing them like at City Hall for the City Council for the Green New Deal, or we have other songs that are meant to kind of bring your heart rate down in a situation where there might be a encounter with police and protesters to try and de-escalate. So kind of a song that you could give to that particular space of frontlines work in order to soften hearts. Yeah, I'm just fascinated by all the different ways that music can be, it, you know, can be created, but then can also then become a tool once, you know, after that birth, after that moment of just of artful creation, then, you know, where can you kind of let it land where it has the most chance to interact with the world and do what you want it to do. And you can never know what it's going to do, right? Like that's the beauty of artfulness, like, and of being a creator, is that you don't know what it's going to, what, once it leaves your hands, once it leaves your mouth and the sound waves travel, anything could happen. And you have to commit to that unknown.
Yes, no, very much so, and that's again, this is really fascinating. And when you're talking about performing a song, say at City Hall or at the City Council, have, and I know it's hard to do right now with the pandemic going on, but maybe pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, have you done anything involved with like the schools and education? Because it seems they kind of go hand in hand with the environmental piece and the justice piece, and also, the younger generations that maybe are getting, just inundated with all kinds of things that my generation never had to deal with.
You know, I haven't specifically done anything with the schools. We did sing as part of the youth march last year, uh,
Okay.
which was probably the biggest crowd I've ever stood in front of. You know, I think in Seattle we had over like 10,000 people. Maybe I'm underestimating that. It was right in front of City Hall, and it was just all the youth gathered together, leading the way on saying that we need a livable planet. It was so inspiring. But I think there's a lot more potential for what we could do there, or how to let the youth speak for themselves and kind of create containers where their own songs and messages could come forth. And actually, that's what we did for the Youth Climate March song, is that the youth gave us, the youth leaders of that march gave us their key messages that they wanted to have to come forth.
Mm.
And then we took those and used them to make the song that we brought to that space.
Oh, very
Um,
cool.
yeah, so it was like the um, I think it's called Sound the Alarm. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. I would love to hear that. I've worked at many community-based organizations over the years, and it's always been with youth. So
Mhm.
that's why I kind of bring it up, that I could easily see this marriage of these things, taking on a whole other life. And it's great to see that you've already been doing some of that already. So yeah, I would love to hear the song for sure.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, well, and speaking of songs, I think this is a perfect time to have you play your live song, and then we'll talk about your new album and everything right after it. So whenever you're
Yeah.
ready, I'm going to stop talking.
This song's called "Go to Ground" and it's on my new album. And it is a song for. It's actually very appropriate, I think, for our COVID times. It's about giving yourself permission to kind of go away for a while and do some healing. Yeah. I sense a hollowing, afraid I gave myself away again. Tried to be the gift, tried to be the gift that kept on giving. But flowers do not bloom all the year round. Sometimes you've got to go, sometimes you've got to go, sometimes you've got to go to ground. Do I need to burn this mask I wear? Do I kiss it once with care for how its shadow made me? Kiss it twice for what it gave me in my journey of returning. Kiss it thrice and set it down upon the land. Body, earth, soil, sand. Watch me try to understand. Here is truth and here is toiling. Here is grace and here is growing. Here is love and here is suffering. The great experiment of living in our hands. In our hands. And flowers do not bloom all the year round. Sometimes you've got to go, sometimes you've got to go, sometimes you've got to go to ground. I'm a child of this learning, I'm a child of this turning, I'm a child of grace. I'm a child of this learning, I'm a child of this turning, I'm a child of grace. I'm a child of this learning, I'm a child of this turning, I'm a child of grace. Ever evolving into the person I'm here to be. I've been breathing long and deep, for the labor does require me to be here, to be present, grateful for the ones that came before, to listen to the lessons as they come from whatever tongue, whatever blundering I've done, pain I've wrought and wrung. Forgive me, oh heavens, forgive me. For I'm a child of this learning, I'm a child of this turning, I'm a child of grace. I'm a child of this learning, I'm a child of this turning, I'm a child of grace. And flowers do not bloom all the year round. Sometimes you've got to go, sometimes you've got to go, sometimes you've got to go to ground.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for performing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have so many questions to ask you, and I realize I have 7 minutes to do it.
Well, shoot,
that's
we'll make this the speedy round.
that's always the case. Well, let's start with, I think, in general. Please talk about the new album and multimedia project you have that all these songs are going to be a part of, so the fans out there are aware.
Yeah. The album's called Daughter, You're a Storyteller. And that's a line from the second track on the album, No Bullet Cure. And uh, the project is really about exploring voice and coming into your voice, coming into your power. Um, I opened the album with a poem, actually, and a little bit of a mantra at the end of the poem that says, um, I am in the right place. I am in the right time, and I am with the right you. We got this. It's this kind of statement that if you are in, if I'm here with you, it's because this is what was supposed to happen, and now we have an opportunity to do something with that. And so, um, in many ways, it's an exploration of agency, which is just uh, the act of, or the realizing that you can do something, that you have a voice, that every person's um, process of coming into their own truth is a sacred one, and this is mine. So so that's a little bit of what the album's about. It's also about sensuality and connecting to history, connecting to your own family history. I'm very lucky to have a great grandmother who is 101 and still alive, and who I talk to on the phone most weeks. And she lives in Dallas, Texas, and a snippet of one of our conversations actually made its way into one of the songs as an audio recording. So there's also that honoring of our ancestors, both living and dead. And yeah, so all those themes kind of run through the album. And I'm releasing it um, over my Patreon over the next couple weeks, starting on the 15th and going through the 30th, when the whole album will be available to everyone. And so I'll be releasing the first single, the song that you just heard, on Friday, which I'm so excited about. And I got to record it with some of my favorite people in the whole world, and that was another beautiful part of making the album, was just the humans that I got to do it with. Um,
Wonderful. It sounds so amazing. Everything that you just described with the themes that are a part of it, how you're going to release it kind of in pieces through your Patreon before it all comes together to the public, at least.
mhm.
And gosh, it's one thing I wanted to ask you was that one, I feel really inspired by talking to you and listening to what you have to say. So this has been tremendous for me personally. So I love it when I'm not necessarily I'm kind of when I'm caught off guard by something from when a guest really gets deep, and I love that because it just helps fuel me in whatever creative pursuits I want to do, or make me kind of rethink maybe what I'm doing.
Mm.
And when you were performing, I was listening to, well, there's two things that stood out to me. One, and I couldn't see it because your guitar was below what
Oh,
I can see.
yeah.
Uh, are you using some tapping technique a little bit on your guitar, or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, you couldn't see that. I should have adjusted it down. I love that kind of alternative ways that you can use the guitar as an instrument, and so tapping is something that's interested me ever since I think I was 18 and saw Kaki King do it with her Pink Noise, but also just like some of my guitar icons. Yeah, I mentioned Ani DeFranco to you earlier, and she was a very early influence for me, and just the incredible kind of percussive way that she uses the instrument. So that has definitely blended with my style.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to, and I'm sure it's not your device. It's mine. I'm on my phone, so
Oh,
yeah, I can only see so much. It's not you. It's me. But no, I was hearing that. I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like some tapping technique going. I'm a guitar player, so that's why I'm
Oh,
like,
right on.
what is that? And then the other piece is that there's a part of the resonance in your voice that reminds me of just a little bit of Katie Lang.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, Katie Lang. Whew.
and are you classically trained by chance vocally?
Yeah, yeah, I am. Yeah, I actually studied like opera for a couple years in college. I minored in music, in voice.
Awesome. Yeah, no, there's I was listening and I really liked it. I was kind of like, in a trance or whatever, kind of getting carried away by your song. And then I'm like, what is this? What's the voice remind me of? And then it's like, it was Katie Lynn because I'm a huge fan of hers.
Mhm.
And yeah, there was a small resemblance to it, but still uniquely your own for sure.
Is Katie Lang classically trained?
You
I,
know what?
I
I
wouldn't
I
know.
I don't know. I've only seen her like 5 times, and I got a chance to actually shoot her show the last time she was here.
Oh,
I was
cool.
the only media member that they allowed in because I was such a fan.
That's
that's
awesome.
that's a true story. I actually showed all my ticket stubs, my tour books, my T-shirts, all that stuff, and because initially they said no because she wasn't going to have any media, and then they made an exception to have me come in.
Wow, that's
so
so
it,
sweet. I
it,
love
it,
that new
it
album, the Case Lang Veers, the
mhm.
album that she did with Laura Veers and
Yeah,
Nikki Case. Yeah.
yeah. She was tremendous. It was kind of like a bit of a bucket list moment for me that to be there as a media member to be able to shoot and write a review and all that kind of stuff of her show.
Imagine.
And but yeah. So since we're in the pandemic that we are in, do you have? I know you actually just did a live stream on Saturday through the. And then, do you have anything coming up like further into the fall to help promote the project?
Yeah, a couple things. Well, I'm playing another benefit for actually one of my favorite organizations around town, Community Alliance for Global Justice, on Saturday, and then I'm planning to do a live stream closer to the release of the 30th, and then also, I last month for the first time did this resiliency session. It wasn't just me playing; it was me and a bunch of other artists, and just people that I invited. Like, this is a really hard time. Bring whatever art's inspiring you, and trying to hold space over Zoom for just, you know, um, almost like an open mic, but it was even more conversational than that. And that was really rejuvenating. And so I want to do a few more of those, kind of tied in with the album release. But I'll, I think then I'm planning for one of those a week from Saturday.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, Erika, thank you so much for taking the time. It was a pleasure getting to talk with you and hear you perform. And I hope that I get a chance to see you at some point perform everything live, which I know will be down the road. But in the meantime, I'll definitely be checking out your live streams and everything else you have going on. And I look forward to hearing that song that you did with the youth and that kind of thing. So stay safe where you are. And I hope to see you sooner than later.
All right. Take care, Mark.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.